is doing so because they are just they don't have a lot of trust in the franchise. I think if you step back and you evaluate this fairly, I think it's a very good move for the Knicks. What's your take?
Knicks have a strong front court, and they gave up a big piece. Robin Lopez was a big-time signing and a great find. But they're set with Porzingis and Carmelo. And I think with the new style, they're going to play with Hornacek, pushing the ball off the floor a little bit and, trying to get a little bit more transition and a few extra possessions. I think this is a good move. They need a guard. They absolutely needed a point guard and someone that could set the tone and run the offense. And Derrick Rose going into a contract year, if he can stay healthy, he was an MVP a few years ago. There's big-time upside there.
Wally, does this mean that all the talk of the triangle is done? It's over with?
I don't think so. Here's my impression of the triangle. It's a motion-type offense that gets everyone the ball in their hands and gets good movement as a team. Now, for certain personnel, like, for example, my game, I think I would have thrived in the triangle. There's a lot of actions for shooters to come off screens. There's a lot of two-man game. There's some ISOs at the elbows where Kobe and Carmelo have thrived. So to just poo-poo the triangle as being not a good offense, I disagree with that. I don't think you can run the triangle exclusively. I think in today's day and age of the NBA game, you have to implement a lot of pick and roll. And you have to figure out a way to break down the defense and get dribble penetration and get three-point shots. Because that's the new wave of the NBA, and that's the way Golden State plays and a lot of teams play. So at times, with certain personnel, the triangle is going to be implemented. I should think it should be. Offense, at times, you got to go in a different direction, run the more conventional NBA offense like a pick-and-roll offense. And I think that's what Jeff Hornacek's going to do.
All right, so what's next here for the Knicks? Obviously, Rose, Carmelo, and KP, a pretty interesting trio to start with. I mean, there's names out there. Noah maybe on a short deal. Dwight Howard, I want no part of Dwight, but we'll see. Biyombo, do you try to lure DeRozan away from Toronto? You talk about the need for a two-guard as well. You lose a Flalo. What do they do next? What would you do? You got $30 million to spend. Where are you spending it?
I know you got a lot of options. Here's my impression of the salary cap and what's been going on with the NBA. There are certain guys that are worth those max contracts. I still believe Carmelo Anthony's one of those guys. You don't want to be a guy who's giving a max contract to one of those fringe max contract guys, because that's what could get your franchise in trouble. I think the Carmelo deal was a good deal. I think right now they're set with a lot of the contracts that they have. Derrick Rose at his number in the old contract, I think it's fair, and I think it's okay. And if he plays up to his capabilities, that's great. I mean, if you can lure DeRozan, sure, he would fit perfectly. I mean, then you're automatic contenders in the East. But why would he leave when they were the second team in the East and he's got a great thing going in Toronto? I agree. I don't want Dwight Howard. I think a Pau Gasol or a Joakim Noah would fit perfectly. But at the same time, Jeff Hornacek, he doesn't need much from his five position. Remember, he had Miles Plumlee, who was a late first-round, early second-round pick, who just did the dirty work, ran the floor, got offensive rebounds, got tip dunks, picked and rolled and alley-oops and stuff like that. I think that's the kind of guy he wants at the five spot. I think he just needs a little bit more skill in the backcourt. Listen, Aflalo, I think he's still, I think he was much maligned here. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah, so do I.
Big games.
Yep.
We'll see what direction they go. I just think they need to continue to spend smartly. I think last year they did that with Robin Lopez. That was a great, smart deal under the salary cap. Aflalo didn't, hamstring them for long term. He was an $8 million guy. They got what they got out of him last year. Whether or not they keep him or not, we'll see. But if you are going to make that big move, you got to make sure you still have the flexibility to, if one of those big-time guys like Kevin Durant or Westbrook, guys like that, want to come, that you have the flexibility to get them.
We're talking to Wally Szczerbiak, who is Knicks Analyst, MSG Network locally. You see him on CBS Sports Network as well, doing college hoops. So he's obviously pretty informed. Wally could shoot it back in the day, and he's with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio.
Wally, it feels like Phil Jackson has evolved in his thinking a little bit. Remember, for a long time, and this may have just been media reports, it was all about Kurt Rambis because he knows him so well. He doesn't really know Jeff Hornacek. So I'm wondering if Phil has been receptive to advice from outside sources, that he's taking different ideas and integrating them into creating a winner with the Knicks, as opposed to following a regimented set. This is my path. I'm going to only stick on my path. that we kind of thought he was going down.
No, I definitely agree with that. Phil's a smart guy, and he's succeeded many different ways in the NBA. And remember, when he didn't have Michael, he still made that team pretty good with Scottie Pippen and Kukoc and company with the Bulls. So he knows what he's doing. He knows the NBA game. I think you're going to catch a lot of heat in New York. There's just a lot of negativity around because of the past 15 years for this franchise.
And they've earned it. They've earned it, Wall.
They have, but when you sit back and you evaluate his moves, he stripped the team down to nothing, which had to be done. The team went from 17 to whatever wins it was this year, 32, 33. I don't know exactly what it was, but they made an improvement. Now you got to take the next step. And in the East, it's Cleveland and everyone else as far as I'm concerned. And you add one or two more pieces, and you're vying for that second spot in the East, and you have a legit chance to make the playoffs, maybe even get home court and advance. So I like the move with Derrick Rose. It's a little bit of a gamble, but not too much of a gamble. Hopefully Derrick Rose just can figure out his body, get himself healthy, and be the player he used to be. Maybe not quite that level, but maybe right below it.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes the Knicks immediate playoff contenders, I think, and a team that's going to make the playoffs.
I agree. Atlanta's really, they're starting to strip down. I think that's pretty evident here. Obviously, the Raptors, we mentioned them. They could lose DeRozan, but even if he stays, they'll probably lose Biyombo. And Kyle Lowry's not a kid, so there's some attrition on some rosters. I'm with you. I think it's a good point to be rebuilding in the Eastern Conference. Before I let you go, Wally, because when I do it, it doesn't carry the same weight as somebody who played in the NBA. Listen, I know Porzingis has a chance to be an absolute superstar. You watched him play every night. Give us your scouting report. What is he in 2 years with some muscle and some understanding of the NBA league and culture?
He could be tremendous. But at the same time, I like him with Carmelo Anthony because he was as good as he was thanks to Carmelo Anthony's tutelage. There were nights that Carmelo had to protect him a little bit when he was going through his rookie wall. I give Carmelo a lot of credit for helping make him have the rookie year that he had this year. There's no secret those two guys love playing with each other. They have a great bond. And Carmelo needs Porzingis to kind of advance quickly and develop quite fast. So Carmelo's going to keep pushing him. That kid, wants to be great. I think with Hornacek pulling the strings, he has the ability to make guys look really good on the offensive end of the floor, kind of like a Mike D'Antoni.
Mm-hmm.
He can implement that type of system offensively. So hopefully, Porzingis can develop into being an all-star in a year or two, and then maybe a future Hall of Famer. I mean, he's got that type of talent, no question.
Oh, nice. By the way, last year and a half, I've been raving about Chris Dunn. Anybody you played with or against that he reminds you of? Chris Dunn from Providence?
John Wall.
Wow.
John Wall. He could be John Wall if he develops a jump shot. That's the type of talent he has. Explosively off the dribble defensively, but he's got to develop that jumper. And guys have done it in the NBA, but not everyone has. So he's got to figure out a way to keep defenses honest, increase his range to the three-point shot with percentage, and then he could be an all-star type player.
Would you take him third at the Celtics, or would you trade?
I would. I think the Celtics are at a point where they don't need another guy like that. Okay. They need a proven commodity that's